Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coaches around the world, welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. It's your boy, the Road Dog, here with none other than the King of the Caribbean, the guy who always seems to be on steroids, Karl Bryan. Welcome to the show, Shoots.
Shoots. I've been doing a lot of push-ups, by the way, lately. Speaking of steroids, here you go. I read about.
You always say everything's on steroids, right? That's your go-to. If we had to play Karl Bryan bingo, like that would be a lot of fun.
Shoots. Set it up. Karl Bryan bingo.
You know what?
When you and me playing.
Middle of the board, it would have little red arrow. You are here. Would be right.
Good. Nice. Agreed.
Hey, listen.
Anywho,
I wanted to touch on something we briefly chatted about in the pre-show. You were helping one of your focused members just get some clarity around just for a client of his. And you said something to me, or something there that struck me, and that was you took their 200,000 of revenue, and you're like, I want to see something for 2 million, right? Like you 10x'd it. And I've always heard Dan Sullivan talking about it's a lot easier to 10x than it is to 2x. Can you get into that just for a sec in terms of why? Like, why is it easier to go that much bigger? Because is it not more intimidating to go that big?
Nice. It's a great question, by the way, and I know exactly what you're talking about. In fact, that's I'm surprised you use 10x, because when you say 10x, everybody thinks of Grant Cardone. And by the way, if you love Grant Cardone or you hate Grant Cardone, the man is a billionaire, and you'd be crazy not to learn from him. He's not my, I don't like that hustle grind, yada yada yada. But anyways, so yeah, I'm surprised that he did 10x. But he just talks about it's easier. I'm not an expert. I have not read the book. I don't really know much about it. Fan of Dan Sullivan, by the way, but I'd be exaggerating grossly to say that I'm familiar with this stuff. So I'm going to give my answer, and I got no idea what he would say. But I would just say that, like, when you start, if you want to your greatest successes come through other people. If you want to bring, these are just some internal conversations that I'm having, like with our staff and whatnot, and like management, and like people want to be, I don't want to sound cheesy here, right? But people, they want to be led, right? They'll tell you that they want to lead, but the truth is they want to be led. Do you want to be led by somebody who's talking about, a 10% improvement, talking about, something, not insignificant, but something that is moderate in terms of if it actually happens? Or do you want to be talking to somebody who's like crushing it, killing it? Maybe I'm off the top of my head, an example. I've got one business coach that's really pumped up, and they're going to go to the chamber and they're going to do a local live event, and they're really excited about it, and they're talking to you about it, right? And that's Coach A. And then Coach B is talking about how he's developed a framework, a game plan, and he is 100% committed, or she is 100% committed that they are running a local live event at 7 a.m. at the Chamber of Commerce every Tuesday, come hell or high water. No vacations, no interruptions, no anything for 365 days, like for an entire year. Because their goal is to not just run a local live event, but it is to elevate the consciousness of the average local business owner, because their fear is, their experience is, the statistics say that local business owners are falling over all the time. And I know some business owners that have failed, and I know about the separations, I know about the divorces, because remember, marriages break up from lack of money over lack of love times a million, absolute fact, right? So that, you know what I mean? The suicides, the depression, the drugs, like again, drugs, alcohol fall into it. When somebody's not doing well in business, what do? They start drinking more or smoking more marijuana, or heaven forbid anything worse than that. So that's the reason that I am doing an event every week for 365 days, every single week. I am foregoing any holiday that will interrupt that. And if I do decide to go on a holiday with my family, which by the way, you should, but what you're going to do is you're going to bring in a guest coach. But what will not happen is that on any one Tuesday at 7 a.m., unless they lock me out for whatever reason, there will be an event. Right? I know, a bit long, but which coach are you inspired by? Which coach do you feel led by? Which coach would you be willing to follow? Coach A, trying to knock together a presentation and hoping to get, 12 people, or Coach B with a vision, a purpose, dogmatic determination. So I think that what Dan would be talking about, or anybody would be talking about that would say 10x is easier than 2x, is that just everything elevates when you start talking in that manner. And then, by the way, so Coach A, remember, is trying to get, what did I say, 12 people. And then Coach B is going to fill a local live event every single Tuesday. Which one's going to be thinking at a higher level? Which one's going to have higher distinctions? Which one is going to be woken up at 3 a.m. With, oh my gosh, right? And have to go to their notepad and write something down. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about there's time to sleep when I'm dead. Now is not the time, because this particular thought about filling my room, about converting in my room, about fulfilling on the coaching commitments that I'm going to put together, I got to go write this down. And I am willing, if I can't get back to sleep for a couple hours, life will go on, but I cannot live without writing this down, because this will make a difference in filling my room and inspiring those individuals to think, act, and do business at a higher level. So that's what I think, and then I just Road Dog, I want to throw it back to you, but I want you to pretend that you are the president of the chamber, or you're the number one salesperson at the chamber, who's, privy to these events and maybe supporting these events or watching these events or just seeing them unfold. Again, which of the two coaches is going to inspire you at a higher level? And I don't need to, you know what I mean? Like, it's very obvious, right? So I think it just, look, you gotta be thinking at thinking, problem solving, and operating at a significantly higher level, and everything becomes easier. People start following you. Remember how I started? Your greatest successes come through other people. That's not necessarily your your virtual assistant or your salesperson or your coach. That's the people around you. That's your clients referring people to you. That's the chamber of commerce president actually coming to your event. That's the chamber of the board. What am I saying? The chamber of commerce, the head of the president encouraging the accountant to come to your 13th event, because you know what? This person's really putting on a show. They do a great job. Everybody leaves excited, etc. So Shoots, that's my answer. What do you think?
I've never heard of the Chamber of the Commerce before, but it sounds really impressive.
I don't
That's
know.
all.
Whatever. I don't like. What am I saying? As chairman, I don't know. Anyways, there you go. That's it, man.
Love it. Listen, the other piece, it's interesting because we actually had a question about this. Someone wrote in asking about increasing their ability to be present. I think that's so powerful as well. Like, it's like, yes, you can have, you set your goals, you set your targets, whatever it is, but it's also being present within those and just keeping your level of presence about you. And if you make a reference at any point in this answer of, for my birthday, all I want is your presence, not your presence, I'm literally going to kick you like so hard the next time I see you. But anyway, can you talk about increasing presence? Talk to me more about that. Or did we lose you? And just like that, Karl Bryan, his whole script was off. What's happening there, bud? He is MIA all of a sudden. Oh my gosh. Hang on. He probably self-muted himself, folks. Technology is not Karl's friend. Let me just give him a quick message. There we go. Where are you? He's still here. What is he? There he is. Did you self-mute yourself? Yeah.
Shoots.
Where'd
Can
you
you hear
go?
me? Test, test, test,
Yes.
test.
Yes, you're back, bud.
Can you hear me?
How can you not hear me?
We'll try that. You there?
Hold on. I'm
Test,
here.
test,
I've been
test.
here the whole time.
Okay,
Can you hear
can you
me?
hear me? I can hear you.
Yes.
Oh,
Good.
sorry.
All
Okay,
right.
so I
That was awkward.
disappeared. That was super awkward.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was awesome. It's like I rib you and then I ask you the question, then you just leave. I'm like, that's amazing. You know what? That's not being present, but that's amazing.
okay, can you just ask the question again, Shoots? Can you, please?
I can
Minus the
ask you the
you
question.
minus the.
I'm guaranteeing you it's not going to be the same amazing setup that I had
I know.
because that was it. Look,
I know because I was
stop.
laughing. I was
So,
Shoots. I was talking back. Okay, cool. But hit me, Shoots, and
all
feel
right.
free to.
So the deal is someone wrote in asking about increasing their ability to be present, right? So can you share with us maybe like a little bit just about maybe presence in general, but at the same time, maybe how do you stay present? How about that?
Oh, Shoots. Nice answer. And or nice, nice question.
Well,
Oh man,
you're on fire
today
today.
Shoots. Okay. Look, if you want to look, okay, presence. If you want to slow down time, here's a hack: be present. And I know some people that are entering their 40s, entering their 50s, maybe entering their 60th decade, or sixth decade, that would be. But their 70s, you know what I mean? And they want to slow down time a little bit. A hack is to give it your presence. Not always thinking about, the future, the past, yada, yada, yada. In fact, I said this somewhere, but the greatest gift that you can give at Christmas is to give somebody your presence. And I think Shoots just earlier, which isn't going to make the podcast because we had a little audio issue. You said if I mentioned on your birthday I was going to give you my presence as my present, you're going to kick my butt. So there it is, just for giggles. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, ultimately be present. That's what you want to be doing, right? Like, okay, so then you go, okay, define presence. What is it? Right? Like you're with a client, you want to be present. You're with your kids, you want to be present. You're with your spouse, you want to be present. Like, think about, you're a football fan. It is the Super Bowl or it's the Rose Bowl, whatever your shtick is, right? But let's assume you're a massive NFL fan. You're watching the Super Bowl. It's a tie game and there's a minute to go. And your team's playing, by the way, right? Think of your level of presence. Your phone rings and what do? You possibly don't even hear it. You 100% ignore it. If anybody even looks at it, it's just like, hand up, not interested. Or maybe another example, you're in you're driving a NASCAR in a NASCAR race, and I got no idea, they're going 200 miles an hour. There's 20 other cars around you going up and down. You're trying to take inside, you're trying to take outside, you're speeding down the straightaway. Think of your level of presence behind that wheel. And at any stage, a mistake could do what? And that's cost you dearly, like potentially your life, right? Well, you're driving that car. It's a minute to go in the Super Bowl with your team playing in a tie game. You're not checking emails. You're not checking your phone. You're not looking around. You're not wondering what other people are looking at you or what they might be thinking or what they're wearing, whatever it might be. You're just totally present. So I do think that some folks, you think about being present, you just think about being in like the moment. But I think that when you understand it in like that's the level that you want to get to. If you were with your client and you were Super Bowl last minute of play, tie game, your team playing, that level of presence, do you think you might catch up? You might catch something that otherwise might have gone missed? Do you think you might have a higher level of distinction? Do you think your critical thinking skills might be a little bit better than if you weren't? Right. So, yeah, Shoots. That's what I would. That's what I'd say. And then just okay. So you're a business coach. How do you use that? Like you're going to go to a networking group, and what's the problem? Like you're fixated on. I don't want to get locked in on a conversation. I don't want to get locked in a conversation with the wrong person. I don't want to get locked in on one conversation and miss out on 6 or 7 others. Right? Don't do that. Just go engage with the one individual and just be present. You're with your coaching client, like I said a minute ago, lock in. You're with a prospect and somebody who you'd like to take to the next step. Instead of thinking, I think what happens, Road Dog, like especially in a sales environment, right? It's like, how do I get this guy or this gal to the next step? How do you know what I mean? Like, so what do they say? Like you're listening just to respond versus listening to understand. I think there's a popular saying out there that's something like that. No doubt you get the idea, right? But the bottom, even like this podcast, again, like what are you doing? You know what I mean? Are you driving? Or are you here with Road Dog and I and dialed in, right? And if you were here to learn and the goal was to get a distinction, and hopefully we're dropping them, right? But you want to be present. Doing three things and this podcast, you might not get the value that you're looking for. So actually, Road Dog, let me finish with this, right? I got a very good friend. He actually does some work with us, but at the end of the day, he's been in the room with one-to-one with Tony Robbins, one-to-one with Brendan Bouchard, one-to-one with some like legit heavyweights in the space. And what he will say to you, and he has said to me, he goes, Tony Robbins, and he puts Brendan Bouchard in a similar camp. I don't know, whatever. And again, you love these guys, you don't like these guys. To not learn from them would be a ghastly mistake, in my opinion. And he said that here's let's just use Tony Robbins as the example. His gift, what he would call, I believe, his greatest gift, is that you can be in a room with 1,000 people or more, but let's just go 1,000 people, and be in a conversation with Tony Robbins, you and him, and he has got the power for you to feel like you were the only person in that room and the only person that he is interested in engaging with for the entire time that you speak to him. And then, by the way, you will finish your conversation and you'll do it in a very, shaking of the hands, staring in the eyes. Again, very, very, present. And then he'll go to the next person and make them feel exactly the same. I dare say that most people don't have that skill. And just think about, again, what are they doing? They're looking over your shoulder, they're looking at someone else, you're sitting there, having a beer, having dinner, whatever. They're, constantly looking to the left, to the right, who's there, who's doing what. They're just totally not present, right? And I would dare say, that is a mistake. Like I believe that what I just described, like that, I think that's a really good question. And like the presence, I would put it up there with the superpower, and again, and assuming that, Tony Robbins is pretty damn good at this whole coaching thing. Well, if that's his superpower, it might be one that you want to adopt. So there's a saying, Bob Marley, I'll probably make a meal of this, but it's like, don't live for your presence to be noticed. Live for your absence to be felt. Right? That's Bob Marley. And I just think about that. You know what I mean? Like live for you want your absence to be felt over your presence being noticed. I think that has got huge, huge power. I remember meeting just Marty McSorley, when Wayne Gretzky got traded to the LA Kings. The one thing he said, look, I'm willing to get traded. I'll go to LA. I'm out of here playing for the Oilers. One condition, Marty McSorley, who's I believe to this day his best friend, but his best friend then for sure, super, super close. His protector, by the way. Wayne Gretzky was, no doubt but like amazing, amazing hockey player, goals, assists. He had more assists than anybody else ever had points in the history of the NHL, which is insane. But anyways, Marty McSorley. So I, spent a lot of time with Marty McSorley, and he also, Road Dog, had that ability. There'd be people everywhere, and he was just so engaged, with me, just the people around me, the kids when he was signing autographs. I mean, just unbelievable guy. So, anyways, shoots, presence. With your prospects, with your coaching clients, with the people, when you're doing a live event, that's why you need to have a script, and you want to know what you're going to be saying. You don't want to be thinking about what you're going to be saying next. What you want to be able to do is tonality and, you know what I mean? Like concentrating on the audience and their reactions and their non-reactions and their body language, etc. So shoots, that's all I got, man. But great question. Do your coaching like it's the last minute of the Super Bowl. and your team's playing and it's a tie game, and I think that you'd get presence at a high level, Shoots. So that's what I got.
I gotta say, because we hear it a lot, right? Like, I don't want to sound like a robot. I don't want to read from a script, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Like it's always the same argument. I remember when I was selling life insurance and I had my presentation down of like, hey, here's the difference between term, permanent, and universal life. And like I had this locked in, like, and it was probably 20-ish minutes long, right?
Yep.
I had it so memorized. I was literally watching their body language. I was literally watching, their facial expressions, like everything. Like I knew exactly how the meeting was going. And that to me is a level of presence, right? Like imagine if you're that good at doing your presentations that you know the exact person you're going to ask the next question to because you know that they're ready for it. Like just having that presence while you're presenting, I think would be a superpower.
Nice.
So
that road
yeah.
dog. Exactly. There you go, Shoots. Boom.
So now with that, this next question that came in is this is awesome. Like because I have been reading the book The Psychology of Money, and that this kind of leads into it because there's a chapter on compounding and just the obviously the power of it. But the question goes, you always talk about doubling a penny for 31 days and ending up with about $10 million. Can you accelerate the power of compounding, wait for it, in a coaching relationship?
Ooh. Oh, there you go.
That is a powerful question. So is there a way that you can take, because like yeah, you're doubling every day and you're compounding. Is there a way to accelerate that, and especially with another human in a relationship?
I love it. And again, Einstein referred to compounding as the eighth wonder of the world. But that exact like this question, so it happens in everything, right? Not just money. So again, it literally in the question, you double a penny for 31 days. Anybody's not aware, right? It's approximately 10 million. But the magic is that all the magic, and let's say the massive numbers start on like day 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, right? So just complementary to this, and I've said it lots of times, but I'll say it here. The challenge is that it's day 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 for so long. You're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. Just like going to the gym, right? You don't feel it. You don't feel it. You don't feel it. You don't feel it. And all of a sudden the pounds start to drop off. But most people give up before they get to the point where it drops off. People take on a real estate career, right? They're day 15, 16, 15, 16, 15, 16, 15, 16. I'm not feeling it. I'm quitting. Right. And then I'm going to go do something else. And then they do it again and then wonder why they don't get anywhere. Right. The secret is to go into real estate and commit for a decade, similar to how we answered. We talked recently, right? But you got to go all in, right? That 20-year, 20x kind of way of thinking and expressing yourself. Nobody's going to be inspired by somebody who takes something on for 90 days hoping it'll work, right? It's just so lame. But least of which the one person you got to lead is you, right? So if you're thinking, I'm going to go into this for 90 days and hope I make enough money to continue to go, you're just not inspiring yourself, right? But anyway, so compounding. Also, Warren Buffett made 90% of his money after the age of 60. So again, if he died at the age of 62, horrifically, he would just be like the average millionaire or multimillionaire from Omaha that like nobody knew of, and he just passed away and nobody else. You know what I mean? Like he just wouldn't have been Warren Buffett, not even close, and he will tell you that, right? So the trick is to live to 90 plus, and compounding will be your friend. So yeah, okay. So I got to answer this question here. Compounding a coaching relationship. As a frame, your brain is designed to protect you, not to take risks, not to take action, right? To keep you safe. That's its primary objective. That's why people say maybe so often, by the way. It's like, ooh, what if something goes wrong? What if something goes wrong? What if something goes wrong? And that's why when selling, you've got to really, really stack and make a really good case to go forward. You can't just do that at the end. You know what I mean? It needs to be a compounding kind of thing. but anywho, so they're understanding that as a concept, I think, is powerful. Um, so small. I'm just trying to think. Okay, so if I was gonna, because unfortunately, in order to get to day 31, I got to start at day 1, right? So like small daily habits over time is how you get compounding. Again, go to the gym. Go to the gym once, twice, 3 times. You're getting nowhere. Go once a week, and I say you just stay on the couch and eat potato chips. Go every day for 30 days and work different parts of your body. You're going to start to get somewhere. And you do that for 90 days, and I guarantee everything starts working better, right? So to get those big results, it's going to start with small daily actions, and then you need to track it. Like Road Dog, you go to the gym like a madman. You're running marathons, that sort of stuff. You're always try see it on Facebook, like you're always tracking your progress. So to make progress, you got to track those actions and those results. Otherwise, what could happen is you go to the gym, and if you do, 50 pounds, 10 reps every single time, look, that's better than staying home. But if you go 52 pounds and then 54 pounds and you do 10, 11, 12, 13, and then once you get to 15, what do? You elevate the weight. So you go back to 10, right? So by tracking all of that, monitoring your progress, that is going to allow you um, it's going to allow you to progress further. But really what it's going to do from psychologically, because you're tracking it, you're going to actually be able to celebrate those wins. Again, what people do, the reason they don't get compounding, they quit real estate and they quit sales and they quit coaching and they quit the online course and they quit generating leads and they quit going to the networking group and they quit doing their local live events, because they're not tracking anything and they're not realizing that although they didn't get the results they were looking for, or maybe they got way better results, by the way, but let's assume that it's somebody that was thinking about giving it away, they didn't actually give themselves a chance to win because the scoreboard was only, it's like, imagine if you went to a football game and the scoreboard only showed the score for the home team and the score for the away team. It wouldn't be telling the whole story, right? Like you want, you know what I mean? Like, yard, just think of a football scoreboard and the time being important and the quarter being important, right? Like you need to know where you're at. Anyway, so I think that would help people get to where they want to go. And in fact, again, as a frame, think we were talking about the Super Bowl a minute ago. Big problem with getting massive results. So let's call that compounding. Like the local sports team wins and you go nuts and right now the NHL playoffs are going on and I'm watching the games and, hoo-hoo and, on Facebook and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, if I'm going to, rip roar for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is my team, and maybe for you it's the Yankees, or for you it's the Cowboys, or for you it's the Patriots, whoever it is, or it's Manchester United, do it. You know what I mean? Do that for you. You know what I mean? But if you don't have a scoreboard and you're not keeping score, I just don't think that you're going to, day 15, 16 is going to feel like it's going to go forever. So you never get that day 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 compounded growth. Right. And by the way, so with that, do you want to know? Here's bad news, right? Do you know what the reward for reaching the next level is for you and for me and for Road Dog and for anybody? Unfortunately, it's a desire for the next level. So that is why you're like, why don't I have those wins? Why don't I celebrate those wins? Why am I not acknowledging those wins? Because you're not having them, because all that's happening is your next level is just a desire for the next level. And then what happens when you get to that level? The next level, right? So yeah, you got to encourage them, like, again, measuring, think scoreboard, and surrounding themselves with positive influences. Again, what happens? Remember, your brain's goal for you is to stay safe, and then guess what your goal is for those that you love? To stay safe. So what do people do to entrepreneurs generally? Stay safe, stay safe. You're gonna overwhelm yourself. You're gonna burn out, right? We hear all the time, you're working too hard. You need balance, and like that is horse pucky. If you're an entrepreneur in your core, and you've got big goals, and think about the way that I described the person that was going to run the local live event every week for 365 days, 52 weeks, come hell or high water. Like that's what's really going to juice people. You want to inspire your kid. You want to lead your kid. You want inspire those around you and your spouse, that's how you do it. You know what I mean? Go and pull that off, and then have a holiday next year. And again, I don't want to be the hustle and grind guy like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, because I don't. I believe that your dreams are bigger on vacation, and that's a good thing. And that's why you should be not taking a vacation is a bad idea. But that being said, I also believe that there's a time and a place for everything. And if your airplane is on the tarmac, unfortunately, you got to do some work to get it up. So what? That's a little. You just got to take that. You got to build your roadmap. How do you do that? Talk about Dan Sullivan. I know this is like you got to think out 25 years, and then you got to go back 10 years, and you go 5 years, and you go 3 years, and you need to go 1 year. And then you got to go 3 quarters, 2 quarters, this quarter, as in 90 days, and then go back this month, and then this week, and then this day, and then tomorrow. And then the question is, if you set that roadmap alight, like does your 25-year plan totally coincide with your 10-year plan and your 5-year plan and your 3-year plan and then your today plan and your this month plan? They all need to coalesce. They all need to complement one another, right? So positive, surround yourself with people who are positive. And one of the ways to make people around you more positive and more supportive is to be inspirational. Again, think of the way that we started this podcast. And then shoots, I don't know, compound, just look, it's nobody wants to hear it. It's boring as hell. And it's like bland, it's vanilla, but consistency, right? That's the key to success. That's why every small town is filled with athletes that were bigger, stronger, faster, better than the guys that made the NFL, that made the PGA Tour, that are playing at Wimbledon, that are playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that are playing for the the World Series. They're playing cricket at the highest level. Playing for Manchester United, playing for England, playing at the World Cup, right? So that consistency, that's it. It's small hinges, big doors. What are those small hinges? That takes critical thinking. It's a step backwards to take multiple forwards, right? And by the way, shoots, so again, somebody wants compounding. It's all well and good to say, look, I want these compounding results, and I want to have these events, and I want 1,000 people in the audience, and I want this, and I want that. Show me your calendar, and I'll show you your priorities. And by the way, show me your bank account and your credit card statements, and I can also show you your priorities. Where are you spending your dough, and where are you spending your time? And doing a little bit of reverse engineering, doing that for your client, doing that for you, doing that for those around you that you're trying to inspire, might be a good thing. So shoots, that's the answer, man. But unfortunately, it's kind of boring. Compounding is doubling a penny every day for 31 days. It's consistency, and it's daily habits, and it's daily rituals, and one step in front of the other. It's how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So it's my answer, shoots.
Okay. The thing that's just coming to my mind right now is just like live events, right? And it's like, so you want to do, let's just pick that one. So you're going to do a live event and you want to compound that. Great. So how many people came last week? 1, 0. Okay. So what did you do? Right. And it's just like, I guess it's also finding what's the 1 or 2 things that you can improve upon, right? Like, are you looking back at your presentation? Are you, again, like, just to tie basically this whole podcast together, are you present enough to know what you need to change when you are talking to people or presenting to people? Are you aware of what that could be? Are you testing new things to see whether or not you can get a better result? Like if you're doing a live event, well, how did you fill the room last week? Okay, so what worked? What didn't work? How can you multiply the effort of what did work? Right? Yeah. I think there's some nuggets there too. It's just, but the problem is, you go into it and it's like, so for me last week, literally I've done 4 events over the past couple of weeks. I kind of threw together one. I literally had one person show up for my first one. Like, wow, how disappointing, right?
Yeah.
But did I say, yeah, no, screw it, I'm not doing it again? No. So like, I'm planning on doing live events every single week right now, because I decided I'm going to, have the capacity to take on 7 new clients. So I'll take on 7 new clients and I will not stop until I'm there. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to stop when I hit 7, because I know that odds are good, we all lose clients. And as much as Karl knows from me personally, I take that stuff very seriously, and I take it very personally. And which was, by the way, I remember that we're sitting on the deck at the L, and I just lost a client, and I was so upset about it. I took it so personally, and you were just like, "Buddy, this is great. Look at how much you care for your clients." And that was
Yep.
like, "Oh, right."
Nice.
So it's
Yep.
anyway, just don't stop, right? Like, it's just, how can you improve? Okay, so I had one person show up there, great. So what am I going to do for the next one to make sure I get 2? Right? Already a huge increase. So that's it. There you
Yep. And remember, okay, so people want to be educated and people want to be entertained, right? So not just thinking like the content. Here's the reality. Your content, if your content is next level, next level, it is going to get easier and easier and easier and easier to fill that room, because what will happen is word will get out. And you will have those rooms. You will have those rooms filled. Story, back in the day, doing the exact same thing. I'm doing live events. Is how I met my wife. I met my wife at a nightclub. I was like, hey, want to come help me with an event? She comes to help me with the event. Again, I can't remember, but the room held, I can't remember, a long time, held 20 people, let's say. 45 people showed up, standing room only, no joke. And you can imagine that the vibe, the energy, everything. Well, I got to tell you, and that wasn't like my second or third event. Like, I was doing event after event after event after event. Well, each time, right, I'm doing what Road Dogg said. I'm thinking about my content. I'm upping what am I upping? It's just platitudinal. I want to improve my content. Look, I want better examples. I want better stories. I want better metaphors. I want better jokes. I want to make people laugh. I want to engage people at a higher level, right? And then how do you go about doing those things and break them down? And by the way, when you think of entertainment, it's not just about music and jokes and people laughing, right? It's like, believe me, like when Tony Robbins talks to you and you feel like you are the only person in the entire place, that is engaged with him, and that's his superpower. Who do you think is talking, him or you? And your instincts are correct. The answer is you, not him. He's asking questions. He's listening to what you're saying. He's watching your body language, your tonality. You know what I mean? Again, he's doing what Tony Robbins does. And then the next question is based on what you said and how you say it. And that's part of how you feel like you're the only person in the room, right? Question. Are you doing that? So engaging. So when you're doing your presentation, engaging, and not that you want to have the audience doing 80% of the talking in that dynamic. That's not what you want, actually, because you know what I mean? Very different dynamic. But you do want to be doing 80% of the talking and have them then doing what? 20% of the talking. How do you do that? By engaging the audience. And then making sure that it doesn't become a runaway train, because you want to engage the audience, but you got to keep control. How do you do that? Frankly, takes a little bit of experience. And you got to, because somebody starts talking and they're kind of waffling a little bit, you got to be comfortable cutting them off and go, look, that's really good. So tell me, what was the end result? Boom, perfect. Give me a hand. What was your name again? Dave? Okay, perfect. Give Dave a hand. Awesome, Dave. Thank you. And then boom, and then you just continue talking. Despite the fact in that dynamic, Dave wants to keep talking. That's just not an option. You got, you know what I mean, a curriculum to get through, and you're going to get through it. Anyway, so in audience engagement, audience participation, like everybody, Road Dogg. So you start the event and you get everybody to stand up, and then they all, I want you to move around the room and meet some of your fellow participants. With 1,000,000% certainty, you will say that and you will hear a bit of a groan, and you don't need to read the minds. You can tell by the body language, you're like, oh, I hate this part of it. But you know what the truth is? That ends up being, if not their favorite part, absolutely one of their favorite parts, because for whatever reason they're moving around the room. And again, that goes for the introverts, and that's not for the extroverts. That's for the introverts and the extroverts. They like that part of it. And by the way, what will often happen is they will meet that, part of what you'd probably be talking about is partnerships, joint ventures, etc. Well, there's a pretty good chance that the person they met could be a really good joint venture, because the universe does weird things in these types of dynamics. They've gone to try grow their business, and then it's a realtor sitting beside the mortgage broker, and the mortgage broker sitting beside the the realtor. It's the gym sitting beside the personal trainer, and the personal trainer sitting beside the guy who owns or the gal that owns the gym. So anyways, yeah, Road Dog, but again, don't take, you know what I mean? Do not give yourself a pass. Knowing your content, that's great. I want to push you to make it better and better. You know what I mean? Like, just make the content awesome. And then how do you do that? But day 12, 13, 14 for a long time. Don't think that you're going to do 3 events and be amazing. And by the way, you might be amazing. And maybe you're just an absolute natural. But if you're an absolute natural and you're amazing in your 3rd event, imagine how good you're going to be in your 30th if you use critical thinking in this process that Road Dog defines, where you're reverse engineering everything and looking to jack up your examples, your metaphors, your stories, your jokes, your audience engagement, your audience participation, etc. So, and Road Dog, before I throw it back to you, one other thing too. So Road Dog's doing a presentation. Let's assume there's going to be 12 people in the room. 1 is an accountant. Okay. Again, telling you, very important. Well, here's what happens when a public speaker is done. You get up and you got an hour on stage, hypothetically, and let's assume there's 100 people in the audience. A lot of speakers, they get off stage, and guess who's the most popular person in the room for a short period of time until the next speaker comes up? Or maybe you're the only one, so you're going to be very, very popular when you walk off that stage. You'll never be as popular, assuming you're doing a bang-up job. You'll never be as popular as you are for the 10 minutes after you walk off stage, right? Question, what are you doing when you walk off stage, right? You going to take a pee, right? Like, this is not the time. When you think 80-20, remember 80-20 again, like 80-20 dictates that when you're operating in the 20, you're 16 times as powerful as you are when you're just doing your day-to-day tasks without a strategic thought, right? But remember, there's 80-20, and then you put a magnifying glass over the 20, and then a magnifying glass over that 20, and then a magnifying glass over that 20, and then that 20, and you end up at 150. So there's like 1%, 50, like there's one, not just looking for 80-20s, but looking for 150s. And I just said, so there's an accountant in that room. That's a 150 for Road Dog. And then remember, when he finishes his presentation, when does he have the most power? In the first 10 minutes after he talks. Who should he find a way to engage when he's finished his talk? And you'd be correct. Find a way to get that accountant, shake his hand, shake her hand, say hello in a really humble, humility is a superpower, right? So you don't want to be like pumping your chest like, oh, wow, how amazing was that? The exact opposite. So, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like, and how would I know that that one individual is an accountant? Well, hopefully you just know, well, because I did my homework before the event started. What's that? I prepared. I respected my audience. So I go to the list and say, okay, what are the 12 people coming? And I go, and then I go to their LinkedIn profile. I go to their personal Facebook page, link up with them, friend them on Facebook, and I'm looking at their photo, and I'm doing my best to remember. Okay, Judy looks like this. Dave the plumber looks like this. Look, are you going to be perfect? No, but would you have if you printed off a photo of each of them, and then you and had their names beside it, would you have a better chance of remembering everybody if you did that? Would that be preparing at a higher level? Would that be respecting the audience at a higher level? I tell you, before Business Coaching Mastery, I don't know if I've ever, so here's what I do. Craig McLean worked for me for 13, 14 years. He knows Business Coaching Mastery is happening. One of his first jobs is to create the number of pieces of paper. There's going to be lots of people there, but like everybody's photo and then their name, their photo and then their name. And then I look at that list and I ask everybody to do it. But I can tell you that I absolutely do it. And often I hear, how do you know everybody's name? And I'll tell you, because I knew your name before you got there. I knew their name. And then here's the funny one. So a lot of the time, the photo is from some time ago, so they don't quite look like their photo looks. And I'm like, hang on a minute. You lost some hair, dude, from that photo that I got printed. But anyway, so that's what I don't know. That's what I'm doing. And by the way, I don't have it all worked out. But that is something that I absolutely do, and something that I'd be encouraging you guys to do. What did I just do? Again, it's 80-20, it's 150. Road Dog wants to prepare, ultimately wants to elevate his results, right? these are some of the things that I'd be thinking about, some of the things that I would be doing, some frameworks that I'd be going into that event with. But remember, I would never go into an event with anything. I would be going into a series of events that would look a lot like, at minimum 10, ideally 52, whereby I was hell bent on exactly what I'm going to do, exactly why I'm going to do it. I would talk about that regularly with my staff, with my wife, with the clients, with the prospects, definitely with the attendees while I'm on stage. And I think you'd get better results. So that just comes back to the very first question with, 10xing, 50xing. Maybe it's 100xing some things. Got to be realistic though.
I got to say one thing though, Carl. I got to say one thing.
Go.
And that is the first thing you do when you get off stage, turn off your mic before you go pee. How's that?
I have done that. What about poo?
Yeah.
That happened.
Oh my God. And there you go, folks. That was me cutting off Carl. I'm getting better at that to keep this train moving along appropriately, because otherwise we'd be here all day, folks. But in fear of throwing it back to him one last time, which I will quickly do, and I'm hoping I'm going to give him a 2-minute buzzer. I'm not sure. Can I mute you? We're going to figure this out for next episode. Can you close us out with the one thing that you can take from today's episode and implement immediately into your business to make you a millionaire by next Sunday?
Oh, that's so easy. Give me something hard to do. Shoots, you knocked it out of the park with your opening question. And that's it. Just again, when you start, for the sake of the argument, fear of shouting out Grant Cardone's brand, but you know what I mean, like 10x. But by the way, let's go 12x, let's go 15x, let's go 20x, let's go 25. What's your favorite number? Like 20. Like my number is 22. So 22xing something excites me. I want you to think about, let's call it 22xing, be a thing. Your goals, your dreams, your ambition, your roadmap, your game plan. And when you do that, you are going to find, like, we're doing artificial intelligence, and I just know, and I'm talking to, internal, our team, the prospects, the, internal calls that we're doing. And I'm saying, look, be there or be square, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. I just know that it's like, oh, look, I think we got it worked out. I think it's going to be good. Artificial intelligence, it's complicated. So I don't want to pretend to be an expert, but I think we've done an okay job. Haven't looked at anything yet, but I plan to tonight at 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly, what am I saying? What am I doing? What are we delivering on? Again, guys, we are going to work this out. We are going to be the leaders. Artificial intelligence is going to take the world by storm, and we're going to be there in the coaching, consulting, in that space. And we are going to be the leaders, if not the leader. We are absolutely going to be leaders, whereby we're going to be directing, coaching, guiding, providing roadmaps for our coaches and consultants that are working with dentists, plumbers, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, to make their life so much easier, ultimately make the business owner's life easier. And this is going to be bigger than baseball. And when you see what we are going to deliver, what we have already put together, not doing, but what we have already put together and what we are delivering. And yes, it is good. But quite frankly, if you asked me last week, I would say that it's unreal. And if you ask me today, after seeing what we've done and what we've completed and the way that it looks and the work that our staff have done, and the research that we have done and the implementation we have managed, it is unbelievable. Like, again, I was thinking game 10 of the Major League, baseball season, and I think we're already in the playoffs. Like, it's that good. It's that big. I am so excited. It's going to be amazing. I hope I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, when you start talking to people in that way, which, by the way, I absolutely, when you see what we deliver, by way of our integration of artificial intelligence into the software, honestly, it's unbelievable. But we are still in the sandbox. We have got our feet firmly pressed up against. We're in a 100-meter dash, and we're just about to step out of the blocks, right? Like, nobody's also delusional in that we've got it worked out. Quite frankly, artificial intelligence is just not something you work out, because it's a mean animal just on its own, right? So to say that we got it worked out would be totally ridiculous, because the guys in charge of artificial intelligence haven't worked it out, quote unquote. So anyway, Shoots, that 22xing, our thought, our communication, our critical thinking style, our critical thinking abilities, our actions, our work day, our priorities, our calendar, our credit card statements. It's going to look a little bit different when we really get aligned with what it is that we want to accomplish and accomplish something big versus, and again, the example we gave at the beginning, which I think is a really good one, trying to fill an event. It's kind of lame. Putting on an event every week for this reason and to inspire locals and raise the consciousness of the average local business owner because you really care about them and their families and their children. I think that that's something people can get behind and will refer, because the secret to live events, what I always did, I didn't worry about, it's not that I didn't worry about it, but like the conversions and the money, look, they were a factor. But when I walked on stage with my game plan, my roadmap for every live event that I did, surpassed this. I didn't start here, but this is where, when I was doing, again, I wasn't doing one a week. I was doing 3 a day. But my goal was to get 2 referrals per person. That was my goal. And I knew that, and because again, what's the hardest thing about running events? Filling the damn room, right? So I knew that if I did a great event and I got, if I had 10 people, that means I had 20 referrals, that the next event was going to be half or better full before I even got started. And that was amazing. So, and did I always? Absolutely not. But that was my expectation. That's what I tried to do. And when I did that, the consultations, the conversions, and the money all looked after themselves. But a big thing for me was that, was the 2 referrals. And I'll tell you this, Road Dog, 2, entertainment. When I got good at the music and the engagement and the jokes and the laughs, etc., the better I got at all that stuff, the better the referrals were, without question. So that's my answer, Shoots. 22x. There we go.
Love it. Love it. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the King of the Caribbean, the man on top of the hill, the king himself, King Karl. And if you're not on the inside and getting access to the pre-show, or you aren't getting Karl's daily emails, you just want more information on how to build, grow, and scale your business coaching company, visit focused.com and subscribe today. And again, if you enjoyed the podcast, please do all the things, leave great positive comments, do the likes, do the shares, do all of that stuff. And we will catch you in the next episode. Remember, everybody, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra $1 on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.